Hi everyone, it's Raylene again, and today I would like to speak about billionaires and the meat industry, or should I say the meat market. So yesterday we spoke about the meat market, and I ended on speaking about livestock. So after that conversation that I had on YouTube, there was breaking news from Bloomberg, and it was all about lab-grown meat. Yes, lab-grown meat, red meat, grown in a laboratory. Sounds really a la natural, doesn't it? Sounds like organic meat? Not at all, not even close. More like GMO engineered meat. So anyway, who's behind all this technology of lab-grown meat? None other than two other billionaires, and that would be Bill Gates and Richard Branson. So now we have all these billionaires, in particular in Australia, investing in Australia, from regular billionaires, Australian billionaires such as Gina Rinehart, Andrew Forrest, Kerry Stokes, to Hong Kong billionaires like, what was his name, Li Ka-shing, and Chinese billionaire Lu Xianfeng. I think I'm probably pronouncing them really wrong. But we have Chinese billionaires from Hong Kong and China investing in Australian farms, livestock and cattle stations, and dairy in particular. And who do we have helping them? We have Citibank billionaires or philanthropist or whatever the hell he is, Philip Wallen. Sorry, I pronounced his name wrong in the last video, but I believe it's Wallen, W-O-L-L-E-N. Google that. Anyway, he's like some big-time vegan activist. He's an Indian Australian, and apparently he's behind that shut every slaughterhouse down. And well, what would that do? What would that do for the livestock industry? Sweet FA. So like all these veganists and extreme veganism and whatever the hell they are, and whatever billionaires that they are working for and getting paid from, they should like go and have a look at what is happening to animals in the livestock industry. The cruelty of these animals that are being shipped. Remember the Awazi Express out of Australia to like Qatar? Yeah, there's lots of Qatari money as well. Lots of billionaires investing in Australia there as well. And well, anyway, the most cruel, like inhumane treatment is actually in the livestock transport industry. Like what the hell? There should be a ban in all international livestock industry. And maybe we might see something coming out of the Middle East to stop that. All I do know is that apparently the livestock demand from Indonesia to Australia, like demanding Australia's livestock, has actually like halved because of slaughtered meat. Slaughtered meat not coming out of Australia, but coming out of India. Indian buffalo. Frozen Indian buffalo has decreased the demand and actually halved the demand for livestock from Australia. So now with if you know you're some big time animal activist, you don't believe in cruelty to animals, that would be like a win, because these animals are subjected to some harsh conditions and cruelty, inhumane, no water, all this stuff. And why? Because we don't have enough slaughterhouses to slaughter them. So they're slaughtered humanely, and the meat can be shipped like frozen and so on. And these animals don't have to be subjected to travel in that manner. So to me, as far as I'm concerned, this Philip Wallen and this ethics in animal cruelty and all this nonsense sounds like hegemony in the Australian meat market. because we have billionaires that are investing and like buying up all these cattle stations, all this livestock, all the dairy processors. And then you've got billionaires, city bankers, Philip Wallen, and he's there. Apparently he's going to be in the European Parliament at the end of this month, speaking to the European Parliament about their meat industry and the inhumane conditions and all this stuff. Because apparently the big thing now to control people is to veganize them and maybe let them eat lab-grown meat while all the elite can eat organic meat from the farms in Australia. So now we've got a situation where it's all about livestock. Livestock from Australia, and let the plebs eat lab-grown meat. So now that brings me to the point of all this nonsense about the supermarkets. And then I would like to turn my attention to the nationals. And I think that all meat farmers in Australia, all those smallholder farmers, you need to go and put it to the nationals. Because to me, it seems like we've got a little episode of House of Cards where they are working for the billionaires and they are working to change those labels. So eventually, when this plant mince, another thing about the plant mince, and that was like noted in the Bloomberg report that came out, the news article that came out last night, was that the same companies that make plant-based meat, you know that plant mince that we're all carrying on, big hoo-ha, is the same companies that make lab-grown meat. Wow, bingo moment there. So they're all talking about labels. So what's the next step? The next step is to corrupt. It's to corrupt the label industry in the supermarkets, and eventually, like the GMO industry, like all that started happening, we didn't even bloody know we were eating genetically modified food. We didn't know. Like, we had to bring in the labels because of a corruption of the labeling of food. So now we want to start messing with the labels so we can creep in the lab-grown meat. And eventually, because, you know, apparently that is red meat. Yeah, from some, like, genetically engineered in a bloody laboratory. No, thank you. I'd rather, like, stick with my organic meat and stick with, like, humane conditions. So the way I see it is, the elites are losing. They're losing. They've subjected animals to the worst inhumane conditions in factory farms. They've sold us a lie about genetically modified seed and how it's good for animals and antibiotics and all this shit. Bullshit. All this bullshit. And now we are finally taking control of our food. And we are becoming more and more organic. There's a whole lot of encouragement all over the world, in all the industries, all over the world, to feed animals and to take care of their immune systems and, refrain from antibiotics and give them good conditions. That we're looking at the immune system and keeping the animals well. And that is like really good for any vegan or whatever you believe in, like the humane conditions for an animal. I mean, it's like the lie we were sold about vegan leather. What a joke that was. Look at our oceans. What is vegan leather made of? Bloody plastic. And now we have a plastic tsunami, and apparently in 2030, whatever, we're going to have more plastic in the ocean than fish. So, like, think about that. And, you know, when you're thinking about activism and, like, oh, the poor animals and, you know, they're the same as everybody and all this stuff, think about who the hell you are fighting for. Because the way I see it is you're fighting for billionaires and billionaire control. You know, like Henry Kissinger said, control the food and you control the nation. Control the oil, you control the nation. Control the food and you control the people. So think about that. Think about this anti-slaughterhouse thing is actually about livestock. So, you know, if you want to do something for animals, why not think about those animals that have been shipped in inhumane conditions all over the world? And yeah, I won't even go into the detail because it's so disgusting. I've seen the pictures. I'm sure you all have. Like, Google that. It's disturbing. So yeah, and then there's another thing that I wanted to speak about, and that is, you know, the connection with slavery as well. And, you know, this vegan rhetoric, it's you know, if we have to think about the nationalities in the world and where veganism comes from in particular is India. And when you think about the tribal thing of veganism, well, there's a tribal thing in Africa, and it's about meat. It's about red meat. It's about cattle farming. And so you got Maasai warriors that drain the blood of animals and drink it for nutrition. And that's centuries old. And are you telling me that that's inhumane and we've got to get rid of it? What do you want to do? Do you want to wipe out certain types of people in the world? Really? That sounds like a bloody cult. And you know, when we're talking about slavery in the past has been a lot about Indian slavery, taking Indian slaves to other parts of the world, and the same with African slaves. So what is it now? Is it that Indian slaves are more superior than African slaves because they're vegans? It sounds so bizarre. Anyway, that's all I have for today, and see you in the next one.